Good morning, good morning, good morning, B. How's it going? Go
Good
live on
morning,
your
Mama.
Instagram. We should be good there if you go live.
Sounds good.
I just
Sounds good. I can see it every time it pops up. So as soon as it pops up, I know it. I sure appreciate it. And it just popped up. So I'm gonna put that on there for you. How
okay.
you doing this morning?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. I can't call it, might spoil it kind of morning.
You know how that goes. You know how that goes. Welcome
Yeah.
everybody to the End the Season podcast. Y'all know who we are. Hopefully, this is your first time here. If it is, this is the End the Season podcast with your beautiful host, the Butterfly, sitting right there beside me. And I am her son, the the Brandon the Gladiator Gator, and we are here to read and inspire and encourage and affirm powerful, motivational. Um, that's what we're here for. I'm basically describing my mother in a bunch of adjectives. You know what I mean? Powerful motivation. I was like, I'm talking about my mom. I ain't talking about me. So, but welcome y'all. If y'all haven't been here before, this is the in the season podcast where every single day we wake up at 7 a.m. We show up at 7 a.m. A little bit early. We wake up and we read from Dennis Kimbro's Daily Motivations for African American Success. This started out as us reading this book and these passages every single day in celebration of African American history during Black History Month, and we just couldn't keep it to that little short 28 days of the leap year, so we extended it to an indefinite time. So every day we're here 7 a.m. just to bring you the fresh, good stuff from Daily Motivation for African American Success. All right. So
All right.
you want to shout out anybody in the comments, Mom, before I jump into
Yes,
the
brother
seed?
Mike is up. He says up early, starting my day off right. Good morning, everyone. Y'all, that's such a blessing to see my brother up and in that chat first. Miss Brenda, he was out there before you this morning. So something's
Uh-oh.
happening, right? And Miss
Got some
Brenda says,
competition.
"Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday." She says, "I missed you all yesterday. I slept in and will catch the replay today." Um, thank you for that, Miss Brenda. It was a really good one yesterday. It is one that I will have a I don't know, a redo. I got a lot from it yesterday, and I didn't get to share some, so I was going to try to come back live last night. Didn't work. I'm going to try to make that happen. I'm going to say this week, but I'm pushing for later today. Um, so you missed a really good one yesterday, and again, I'm going to come back hopefully with the young man Brandon. I can't think of his name right now, and you too, Brandon, if
Barack.
possible. But Barack. I feel like there's so much more from that one yesterday. But we'll get into that. So go back and listen so that you'll
We,
be
we,
ready for the
we just trying to make you feel bad.
redo. Hmm?
Miss Brenda, we just trying to make you feel bad for not being here yesterday. No, I'm just
Yeah.
joking.
How was yesterday when you missed us? Was it like you missed a meeting or something that you
Miss
needed? How did you
us.
feel yesterday? Could you tell that you missed it? Come on,
Yeah, let us
puff
know.
us up a little bit. Puff us up. Yeah.
Oh man, look, you got your coffee. You got.
Water, Brandon, water.
Ooh, oh my goodness. Okay,
I've gotten addicted to water, y'all.
well that's a good thing. That's not bad. That's not bad. It's better than Coca-Cola when I was a kid.
Oh well. I didn't say I was not drinking Coke. I said I'm addicted to water.
You didn't say you was addicted to Coke.
That's
Look at
right.
it. You gonna get us taken
That's right.
off.
I'm no longer
He's addicted
addicted
to
to it,
Coke.
but yeah, I'm no
Hey,
longer
mom,
addicted to
mom,
it.
listen
Hmm.
to that. We're talking about Coca-Cola, the beverage, y'all. When you talk, I'm saying, your mom was
Oh,
addicted to Coke, and they gonna shut you down.
Coca-Cola. Yeah. So
But anyway, y'all.
Brenda says her
Again,
day
welcome,
was
guys.
off. She said, Miss Brenda said her day was off. It felt off.
Um, but you know what?
So,
And not just a bit. That's just like we said. You remember the story about the guy waiting late and then rushing the rest of his day.
yes, yes.
The guy he woke up maybe it's late and then he rushed all the way to the ferry, tried
Hmm.
to get to the ferry and did all that jumping and
Yeah,
all. But the ferry
yeah,
was actually either 10 minutes late or something happened. That just
yeah.
reminds me of that. So Brenda, I hope you have a better day today. And if you do miss us, I hope that I think she has the book, doesn't she?
Yes, she has the book.
Okay, so she's still able to read it and maybe go back and watch.
Yeah.
the end of season podcast. So, guys, if you do miss the podcast live at 7 a.m. after the show is over, it is published on YouTube, so you can always go and watch it there. You can always go back and watch previous shows, or to even see upcoming shows. But we are here every morning, 7 a.m. So thank y'all for rocking with us. Thank you, Brenda, for getting the book, and for letting us know how you yesterday, having not here. And we want to keep giving you that good content. We hope that even if you're with us or if you're not with us, that your day still goes well. We don't, oh, you missed us. Wrong. We don't want it to be like that. But we appreciate the love and the place that you put us in your morning. Thank you so much, Miss Brenda, and everybody else that does that. Shout out to everybody. So, for those who don't know, daily motivations for African American success will help you focus on the attitudes and deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. In 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich. So we might need to get that and do a reading, Grow Rich, a Black choice too. But it leads us to discover how to use the present moment, gifts to transcend labels, cultivate positive attitudes, become wise enough to know yes and when to say no, and how to word for answers to life's challenges. So each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby, Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every single day of the year, but what it teaches you will last a lifetime. So let's keep learning these life lessons together and keep getting our blessings. So, Mom, do you have anything you want to jump right into it?
Want to jump right into it and just thank everybody again for joining us. Brandon, do you have any comments over your way? What do we have there before we start here?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. My guys and girls are coming in a little slow today.
It's Monday morning.
Monday morning. Everybody stays up a little later on Sunday because they don't want that weekend to end. They want to hold on to the last little bit of some type of freedom for my brothers and sisters that work the regular 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. If you got weekends off or anything like that, I know it's a lot of my friends try to hold on to that last little bit of weekend. So no
Yeah.
blame to them. But I'm gonna get on them, tell them, make sure they get up. We gotta get
Get
this
up
day
and get
started.
with us.
Yeah. All right, but what's today? Today is April the 29th.
89. Yep, and 89th day.
Day 89 on
Day 89.
April 29. So somebody y'all has a birthday coming up. I don't know who that could be.
I don't know either because my birthday is every day. Can't find my phone. My birthday is every day, so I don't know who you're talking about.
I'm talking about you.
Well, my
It's your
birthday
birthday.
is every day. My birthday is today. It was yesterday. It's
Well, I don't
tomorrow.
know. You probably mad at me
Huh?
because I done missed all the birthdays then.
You missed every one of them, yeah.
But
But
no,
I do. I'll be a whole 21 all over again, y'all. So,
I'll be a whole infant.
yep, yep.
I'll be
Whole infant.
a whole infant. But no, it'll be a pleasure to celebrate your birthday, Mom, and just to highlight you. So I think that'll be an interesting show. Maybe we can get a couple other people on and sing you happy birthday. I don't know. We'll figure something
Ooh.
out.
Why a couple of people? Are you gonna sing to me?
I said a couple of the people. At
Yeah,
7 a.m., you
you.
want me to sing in the morning?
Yeah. Brandon can
Mm-mm.
sing, y'all. He can sing.
Not on no live. Mm-mm.
Shoot.
I'm a
I,
fighter.
I'll
I'm a
sing to
fighter now.
myself. I'll sing to myself. Y'all want me to sing to myself? I'm for real.
Not
Whatever.
on May 1st. You do whatever you want to on May 1st.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna sing to myself. Celebrate me, boo. Nothing to it but to do it. Right?
I'm with it. Yeah, I'm with it. Whatever you got, Mama. I was dancing. I was dancing in the street with the police 2 days ago. Anything's possible now.
There you go. There you go.
I was. I promise you, I've had a interesting and difficult bout just with the idea of police in different places. And I know some amazing police. My coach is a police officer. Good friends of mine are police officers, but But I've had some wicked experiences with some of them knuckleheads out there, some of them bad apples. But looking back, I probably had just as many good experiences and hadn't attributed that to the individual, well, I attributed the individuals and not so much the entire, for general and the institution in general. I still, uh, don't lose history to how it's played out. Not revolutionized. I think completely different. But at the same time, the people that join in and the people that go out there to do the good work that none of us do, my hat of respect to you. Uh, and y'all go out there and do this job that you can do. Remember that servants. But I got servants that day, and we ended up having a great time. Almost had a ad hoc block party in the middle of a neighborhood that wasn't trying to have it, because they was the ones calling the cops. But we ended up having a good time, police officers, and they took a plate home from the cookout. They left with them full. So one day, y'all, when we get a little extra time, I want to tell that story. But
I was thinking the same thing. Maybe when we come back, because I love the story, and we'll get going here, you guys. I want to share what Miss Brenda said too. I love the fact of grandson asking when the police were
mm,
called on Brandon and his family. Um,
you gonna tell the
and
story?
no, 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 I'm not going to tell it, not
I'm
today.
just
But
playing.
the fact that my grandson asked, "Well, where are the bad guys?" Y'all,
Yeah,
that's a we need to have a show on that. Like this 3-year-old says, "Well, where are the bad guys?" When the police comes, right?
yeah,
And ready to help
he
find
looked
them.
around. Yeah, he picking up sticks. Like,
That's
what's
because
going on?
yeah, he's like they're here, but where are the bad guys, right? So just wanted to share that part. Miss Brenda says, I also found another book by Dennis Kimbro that I have started reading. It is titled What Keeps Me Standing? Letters from Black Grandmothers on Peace, Hope, and Inspiration.
Miss
Wow.
Brenda, Miss Brenda, look at you. We asked me if you got the
Wow.
book, and you got another book.
You got another book.
You got another book.
And y'all,
Congratulations, Miss Brenda.
I will, this platform is for anyone who wants to do something, right? So Brandon and I can't do it all. There's no
Mhm.
way. There's no way, right? So the offer stands for someone, and I'm hoping Big will maybe that's one he can pick up and do. But I feel like there needs to be a grandma there, like an older grandma. Maybe I could find somebody that could really help pour into us along with someone else, because I'm just I'm running thin on things that I can bring in right now. But I just want to throw that out there that I'd love to have somebody come in and do more. So all right, let's get this rocking, Brandon. It's 7:15 and we ain't even started.
We ain't even started. We just all right, y'all. So let's jump right into it. This is day 89, consecutive 89 days in a row in this season podcast. What a success this has been. Today the lesson is titled "Learned My Lesson." So the title is "I've Learned My Lesson," and the quote comes from John Oliver, writer and playwright.
Yes.
And he says, "Life is a short walk. There is so little time to give and so much to achieve." Now, give me one moment. Let me see if I can, if there's anything up with. Let's see. There we go. There we go. There we go. I had a little message that I was freezing up a little bit. Y'all let me know in the comment section if it continues to freeze or anything like that. Okay? Y'all got me? All right.
We got you.
So again, the title of today's passage is "I've Learned My Lesson." Life is a short walk. There's so little time to give and so much to achieve. That's a quote from John Oliver Killens, a writer and playwright. Life is so short. There's so little time to give and so much to achieve. Each year, Thousands of people are nominated for membership into the Horatio Alger Association. Wealth cannot purchase a place among the honored ones, nor can power or influence. The one key to receiving the prestigious award is poverty. All recipients must show that at some point in their lives they were poor and that on their own merit they became successful despite all setbacks. In 1990, Robert J. Brown was inducted into the society. As the great grandson of slaves, Brown had no difficulty proving his poverty stricken past. And today, as a businessman and noted philanthropist, his success is apparent to everyone. Bob and his brother were raised in North Carolina by their grandparents. He remembers that their leaky old house seemed to be in constant need of repair, and they never had enough to eat. We didn't have a lot of material things, he recalls, but we did have a great deal of love and affection. No matter how tough their circumstances, his grandmother was always willing to share with others in need. Her generosity taught him one of life's most important lessons. One summer day, when Bob was a young child, a tattered elderly man trudged up the steps of the house. He walked up to Bob's grandmother and said, "Miss Neely, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten in days. Can you spare a bite?" She invited him in to share what little they had. After he left, Bob asked his grandmother, "Grandma, why do you continuously feed all these people when we don't have a thing?" And she said, "Son, if I never teach you anything else, I want to leave you with this. Life is all about serving and giving. There's nothing else in life greater than that. Life will pay handsomely if you learn this lesson well." And the affirmation for today that we read 3 times, one time for you, one time for me, and one time for the person and people you're going to send this to is, "I will assure my greatness by becoming the greatest server." I will assure my greatness by becoming the greatest server. And that is the lesson for today. I will become, I will assure my greatest, will assure my greatness by becoming the greatest servant. That's it. What you got for me, Mom? What you think? I know you then drew
Y'all
out
know
some.
this is speaking my language. Y'all have heard me talk about Mary's comment. So be it. If this is what you would have me be or do, let's do it. I'm a servant, right? So y'all have heard that word here quite a bit. Yesterday's was your most faithful and humble servant, which
Mm,
is why it's one of my favorite. And I feel the need to continue it. So I'm going to start off with this, y'all. I've learned my lesson. I've learned my lesson. Say it one more time with me. I've learned my lesson.
I've learned my lesson.
Um, Life is a short walk for sure. There is so little time to give and so much to achieve. So little time, y'all, to give and so much to achieve. So this when I this reminds me of my grandma, my
Mm,
mom's mom,
I knew
Grandma
it.
Beatrice. And it's funny how you started to your tone started to change
Sound
at
like
the end.
grandma.
It was almost like, yeah, you
That's what
can.
I was thinking of for real. I mean, that's
Yeah, she was this person here. Man, I remember having a conversation with one of her daughters about her. Um, and I said these words. I said, You can't stomper her. I'm changing it. You cannot hold her back. Maybe this is her calling. Because I promise you guys, if my grandmother had gone 3, 4 days without eating a meal and you took her a meal and someone came that was hungry, she would give it to them. She would give it to them. Like that's one of the things I remember. Just it felt like Everybody came to Miss B's house to eat. Everybody. And I truly believe that there were times where there was no way. There was
How,
no
how,
way that
how did the pot of greens? It was so deep. It's like it never ended.
I'm
It's like every time
right.
we reached in, it was
There's
more
no
greens.
way. It's like the story in the Bible about the fish, you guys. And I've heard this from a friend of mine about his mom, and I've shared it a little bit here. That they didn't have much, but his mom would feed the kids in the neighborhood who were also hungry, who did not have much, and it just seemed that. And Brandon, you say that if you have enough for one, you have enough for there's
Um,
enough for two
that's
and
so.
all
Yeah,
that.
I was actually about to say that. I was gonna save that, but there's a. It's not me. It's not to be attributed to me. It's a hadith or
Right.
one of the words from the Prophet Muhammad of Islam, who said, or Jabir reported that the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said that the food of one person is enough for two, the food of two is enough for four, and the food of four is enough for eight.
Mm,
So isn't
yeah.
that interesting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
So
listen how that multiplies too. Though,
how
did
it
you get that?
multiplies.
Like
Right.
enough for one person is enough for two. Enough for
Right.
two persons is enough for four. Enough for
Right.
four persons is enough for eight.
Right. And so, you guys, I'm blessed by this today and needed it because although I say I've learned my lesson, it's hard. It is hard to be that. It gets really difficult sometimes because people are people and they will do what they're going to do. People are so stuck on being hurt. They're stuck on staying where they are. And so when you see yourself as a servant, you have to be prepared to know that you're not doing it for people, you're not doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for the kingdom, the glory of God. Because if you don't, I had a situation that threw me. I had someone, and I'm still stung from it, but I got a text from someone that was clearly just, it was out of the blue. I never and this I never would have expected it, but at the same time I'm finding myself, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you expect it? Because we truly wrestle against spiritual warfare, you guys. And then the Tammy in me wanted to respond differently. But as I sat back and allowed God to remind me, I had the ability to think, this is not about you. This is not about you. You keep it real, you keep it godly, you keep me front and center with your response, and you let me do the rest. So listen, I responded,
Mm-hmm.
but I responded with love, with patience, and with a servant heart, and saying, I'm still here for you.
Mm.
Because what you're not going to do is pull me off my journey, period. I'm not picking it up anymore. So I don't
Right.
have to put it down. I will address it if God, because yesterday, remember, I think it was yesterday, do we have the decision to know when to act and when not to? When you hear God's voice, said, okay, go. Oh,
Mm.
no, you don't need to go on this one. So I've learned my lesson and I'm continuing to learn.
Mm.
Why? Because we wrestle not against the people, but the spiritual warfare that is in people that they're fighting themselves, right? And sometimes you're the easiest for them to throw up on.
Right.
Why? Why are you the easiest? Because I'm going to go back to what I said yesterday, and then I'm going to, because this one's short and sweet for me, Brandon. But I want to read something that I did
Okay.
read yesterday. I think I brought it down. Yes. A servant is humble. A servant prepares. And I'd like to think even preparing myself emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially,
Mm-hmm.
prepares. A servant perseveres. A servant serves where needed. So it was yesterday. A servant serves where needed. A servant serves or not. as God directs. So
Mm,
are you listening to God? Do you know
mm,
that sometimes it's you doing too much? That
mhm,
some of the places that you're going and that you're at, God didn't send you to be a servant in that place. You sent yourself. And it's
mm,
up to us, it's up to you to evaluate. Why did I feel the need to go there? Did I clearly listen to God? Because sometimes there's a servant needed, but it's not you. So you have to be prepared to hear the voice of God
mm.
telling you. Because in everything, God is doing everything, y'all, for a lot of people, for everybody. And the last one, a servant expects to suffer. So I read this yesterday. A servant expects to suffer, but it's not suffering. It's not suffering, you guys. When
From
you
the
when
outside,
God
it looks
sends
like
you,
suffering, right?
right, and go back to Mary. Y'all, if y'all haven't, matter of fact, if anybody wants to read this story, I have a Quran that I have another. Do I, or did I give that one? I can get another one. Let me say that because I think I gave that one away. I can get another one, but that's where I read the book of Mary out of the Quran. And if you remember, I went to journaling through the scriptures, and I told you guys that I learned more about Jesus during that time of studying at the mosque with the group of people journaling through the scripture. We had people of all race, religion, everything. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful, and the book of Mary just blessed me in a way, right? So as you think about her life and the prayers of her mother, right? And then still it looked like she had been marked because the prayer of her mom was, for her not to be touched, right, Brandon? If I say that
Hmm.
right.
Well, she was, yeah, she was giving the baby to God.
God, right. And so in that, sometimes we think, oh, if I do this, we have the christening of the babies, and sometimes I
Hmm.
think we think that I believe. Let me stop even saying I think. I believe that we feel like we shouldn't grow through anything. We shouldn't have to
Hmm.
suffer.
Hmm.
What would life be like? And it's not suffering; it's building the kingdom. And when you realize, when you learn your lesson, that I'm going to go back to yesterday's. When you learn your lesson that you are the most faithful and humble servant first in your life. And then you can trust God, right? You can have that faith because it's good to say, and I'm going to pick on KL. It's good to say, "Oh, I got faith." It's good to say that.
Hmm.
Just like it's like we say everything else. We talk ourselves into stuff and we talk ourselves out of things without action. People say all the time, "Oh, I love me." You can't tell me. Yes, I can. I can look at your actions about you. I can see how you talk down on yourself. I can see how you don't um, make people require people to show up and respect you. That's okay. It's okay. People, we have to be like Jesus. Turn over tables. We forget that part. We're out here trying to be so elegant and poised, and oh, I'm faithful. I'm da 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 da. And behind closed doors, full of hell, full of hell, full of hell.
Tell them that.
I just told someone the other day. We talked about church, and they asked me what church I attended, and I said I don't. I'm church. And he's like, "Miss Tammy, I get you, I get you." But he invited me to his church, and I'm gonna go. And we talked about how people said this. We have people going to church with no church, leaving church with no church, going a whole week with no church, only to return back Sunday and repeat the same thing over again.
Mm.
Because we should be church going to a building. And I mentioned to him how the last time I was in church, I left because I told him, I said, I got tired of sitting there needing more, wanting more. And I look around and people, because of this big red clock that they have that tells them when they're going to end church. And I would sit there like, God's not done with us. I could feel the Holy Spirit and wondered why. It was one more person with me. And we were just like, what's wrong with them? Because we sitting there, we're wanting more. Why? Because y'all, if you've not felt the presence of the Holy Spirit, I'm going to ask you to pray more, meditate more, close off your life. I mean, turn the TV off, turn the radio off, turn people off. If you've not felt the presence of the Holy Spirit, and what I share with this young man, I felt it to a degree where it was so evident, right? But because people are ready to get out of church, they will stop it to get home to do what? To do what? To do what? So I've learned my lesson, y'all, and I know my purpose.
Hmm.
And I know part of that comes, I expect to suffer, but I will not suffer. I expect things to happen. It's like Brandon says, when I'm blessed, I expect a test. But guess what? I have every answer to every question. And guess what? I'm going to pick, I don't know which day that was, I'm going to pick the most difficult questions because I've learned my lesson. And there's not a lot of people that will say and really mean, I've learned my lesson, y'all. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest. I give when I don't want to. Can I say that again? I
Yeah.
give when I don't want to. I don't always want to give. And I
Hmm.
don't always give. Why? Because a servant serves or not serve as God
Hmm.
directs. You have to know the difference. You have to learn your lesson. You have to learn your lesson. You have to learn your lesson. Over to you, Brandon.
Man, mom, I ain't gonna lie to you, mom. I feel like today it's your show, baby. I'm an observer and a listener and participant today, cause
I love this because I
yeah.
think it'll answer so many, it'll answer the one question that needs to be answered in order for us to learn our lesson. What is my purpose? Y'all searching for your job. Oh, am I supposed to sell burgers? Am I supposed to be CEO? Because y'all, it doesn't matter your title or your position. If you don't know your lesson, if you've not learned the lesson, if you're not going to Burger King saying, I'm a servant, I'm going to flip this burger, it's going to be so good. Nope, they're going to pass Burger Kings to get to this Burger King because they know the cook,
Mm.
right? If you're flipping burgers at Burger King, I met Miss Maria, a lady yesterday. Brandon, I don't know if you got to talk to Miss Maria yesterday when we were setting up or trying to set up. Miss Maria came in
Mm-mm.
there and she was a little lady she was a greeter. She was
Okay,
the
yeah, yeah,
greeter.
yeah, yeah. I
Oh
remember.
no, because you didn't come. You weren't at that
No,
location.
because it was an old man that greeted me.
So, oh my gosh, I got
But
Miss
there was an
Maria
old lady
came.
in the end. Okay.
Right. So it was an old lady. No, she was at the other store. I'm sorry, you didn't come to the other store with me.
Oh, okay. Because it was an old
But her
guy
name
outside.
was Miss Maria. Miss Maria came in and she said, "What's your name?" I had passed by her, spoke to her, and she came down. And so we had a good conversation. And I was telling her about how rewarding awarding her job must be because she meets so many people. And she said, "Yeah, I meet some nice people." And she told me, she said, "There's some bad ones too, some ones that treat me bad." She said, "But there are more that treat me good." Right. And her name was Miss Maria. She looked like she's about 85 and she's greeting at Walmart in Olive Branch. Y'all go say hey to her. If you're in Olive Branch, tell Miss Maria that Miss Tammy said hi, right? To tell her hi. And so she's sitting there. She's so, it was just something about her, y'all. It was just something about her. And I don't know why she was led to come in there. I guess God sent her in there, but she's gonna be a lifelong friend. I know it. I was out the other day, and Miss Elsie is 87 years old, y'all. 87-year-old white lady, right? Stood and talked to me for about 30 minutes. She said, "I want to go to lunch with you." Do y'all understand what's going to come out of this? She told me about her father. She's from, oh gosh, I got it in my phone. Water Valley. She's from Water Valley. And her father was a superintendent there. And she said, my father fought for the black kids to have the same books and the same quality of life as the white kids. And there were white people in the neighborhood, in that community,
Mm-hmm.
that were so angry with him. She said they were so angry to the point that after he died, they still came up to me talking about what he did for black people. They were still angry after this man died, right? They didn't know their lesson. They did not know their lesson.
Yeah.
So
And it's like,
y'all,
why do they feel so threatened?
right,
Right?
right,
Like, why do people feel like in order for me to shine brighter, I have to take light from you? Right?
right,
Why is there such an insecurity of an otherism of human beings who want the same things as you? You know what I mean? It's
right,
because, well, it's really because they privilege, especially during that time, they privilege off the oppression of other people. They literally, there was a play that we did in Knoxville, uh, with what we call Strange Fruit Productions. And if you know Strange Fruit, you know what that is in reference to the Nina Simone song that I like, Strange Fruit Hanging from the Poplar Trees, but we call it Strange Fruit Productions. And one of the plays that we put on was called A Day of Absence. And A Day of Absence was where all of it was in um, a post slavery, like Reconstruction period time,
mm-hmm,
when we were fresh out of slavery, and but black people were still largely de facto second class citizens, despite the Emancipation Proclamation, things like that. In South, they were very much in South, and in other parts of the country as well, they were considered second and treated like second class citizens. And on this day of absence, all of a sudden, everybody woke up, and all the Negroes was gone.
mm,
And they called them Negras, the Negroes, you know. And the calamity that really struck that place with all the black people gone, right?
mm,
And they couldn't function. They couldn't, because their entire system, America, by and large, was built off of the blood of natives and the backs of slaves, and the blood of slaves as well. And so once the oppression stops, once the inequity stops, they feel like, oh, we're all going to be the same. And there's a quote that I believe is attributed to Dr. Martin Luther King, who said that equity feels like oppression to the privileged, or to the privileged. I think it actually starts out to the privileged. Equity feels like their
mm,
oppression, right?
mm,
If your family stole 300 acres away from me, and you the grandson, right? They stole 300 acres away from my grandma. And let's say in a court it says that 300 acres is now backseated to me and my family. You might feel like you've been done a wrong, right?
mm-hmm,
So the equity of saying, no, this was an illegal transaction, give this land back to these people, that would feel like your oppression. Or and this is not just as individuals. This isn't just sharecroppers, and this isn't just the situation in the South. This is goes to the I think it's the CO, the SIOUX, however you pronounce that, to that tribe out there, where Mount Rushmore is, where all the presidential heads are sitting on the rocks. The George Washingtons and all of them are sitting on those rocks. That's actually tribal land that was illegally taken from America. And in I think the Supreme Court, or one of the courts, uh, deemed that it was an illegal seizure, right? And said that they should that the United States or the government should pay a certain amount to the Native Americans. I don't think that actually happened in the end, but the law never said that they had to give that land back. It said, oh yeah, you got to pay them something. But so you have to understand that the systems of oppression are built, especially in capitalist nations like ours, are built to where it serves a select group, a majority, and it extracts, exploits another people. So just that was just something I wanted to share with that was interesting to me. A Day of Absence. Can you imagine if we did that play today? If we did that play here in Memphis, you know, Day
Hmm.
of Absence, you
Mm.
know. But I would do it differently now. I would actually, I want to be honest with you, Mom. What I think would be
What?
cool is to recreate a Day of Absence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do it with different people. Like have different scenes of like, all right, let's do it. Y'all mad about these immigrants? All right, let's do it. Let's do a day without Mexicans. Let's just see what happens if none of the Mexicans go to work today. Man, y'all fruit gonna be coming back weird. Y'all ain't gonna be able
Brandon,
to get no
yeah,
tomatoes. Y'all ain't
you
gonna be able to
touching
get
on
no tile in the
something.
street.
See, this will go a long ways because if you, I've been saying all along, you know, we don't have control over anything. We've not learned our lesson even in this, y'all. We talk about how much things cost. Like, yeah, we got to eat, right? But we can also grow crop, right? We can also grow our own food, right? But when it comes to cable, internet, and things like that, I've said this over and over again. If everybody, or if just some of us woke up tomorrow morning and called and said, turn it off. Don't need it's too what's wrong? It's too expensive. No, don't negotiate with me now. Turn it off. What would happen?
They'll say it's okay. We're gonna cut
What
them prices 10,
no,
15,
but when
50%.
it comes to be more, when you get 100,000 and then from there a million people saying no, we're paying too much for this. But see, we've not learned our lesson and we're not ready to let it go, even though we know we're being overcharged.
What I say
We're
yesterday,
not
Mom?
willing to let it go just for a moment. Say that again.
Do you remember yesterday I said man feeds the beast, but surely the beast feeds on man.
Feeds on man.
That's
Right.
our issue in general, is the fact that we are not willing to give up certain
To
uh
suffer. And it ain't even
just
suffering.
exactly. It's our inflated sense of self and
Right.
our nihilism, to where we are so focused on fulfilling our desires, on
Mhm.
fulfilling our lowly impulses, right? That we're willing to give up.
Reprobate mind. We're
Yeah,
wanting to fulfill
we're
a
willing to
reprobate mind.
trade. We're willing to trade the hereafter for the here and now, and
Hmm.
that's a bad investment.
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
bad investment. It says in the Quran, in the second chapter, I think I think it's verse 155. It says, "We will certainly test you with a touch of fear and famine." Talking, God is speaking in the plural here, like just like in the Bible says, we will certainly test you with a touch of fear and famine and loss of property, life, and crops. Give good news to those who patiently endure and who say, when struck by a disaster, surely to Allah we belong, and to Him we will all return. Surely to God we all belong to God, and surely to God we will all return. So remember that this is not it. That this is temporary. Like this is not even. This is the blink of an eye compared to an eternal life. You know. And so what are we sacrificing, right? It's like we're sleeping in for 15 minutes, and missing, $1 billion. You know what I mean? Can you imagine somebody say, if you don't, you got to wake up at 7 a.m. tomorrow. And if you wake up at 7:01, you ain't getting this $1 billion.
Y'all
Man,
know some people still oversleep. Do y'all know some people will still oversleep?
that's true. That's true. That's true. Facts. But I think a lot of people will straighten up real good, like we do. We straighten up real quick when a bag is involved.
Hmm.
But the hereafter, when that's involved, and you don't know when that's gonna come. You think you're gonna live a year from now. you, you think
Tomorrow.
you think, like, do y'all, I just I want to give y'all some insights into what happens when you die, so that you can realize how temporary this life is. When you die, before you die, there's a moment of surety. There's a moment of surety where the things of the unseen, your creator and your relation to your creator, is known to you. And there's nothing you can do about it at that point. There's no asking for forgiveness. There's no give me one more chance. There's no send me back and I will do better. But many of us will say that. oh, please, Lord, just send me back and I'll show you. I didn't know. I didn't have time. I thought like I was going to live a little bit longer. And I didn't know. I just please send me back. And we won't. And that moment of surety, there's a veil that is over our eyes to where we cannot see the things in the unseen. Just like we can't see ultraviolet light, but we know it's there scientifically. There are things there. The angels, for example, can see us from a place that we cannot see them. Right. So at the moment of your death, before your death, the veil will be removed from your face, from your eyes, to where you can now see in the unseen. And when that angel of death comes to you, will it come to you as a friend, as a beautiful friend,
Mm.
saying, come on, come with me? Will you go willingly? Like my great grandmother, who we were talking about earlier today, when
I
she
was just
had,
thinking about
she
her.
was sick. I felt you. When she was sick, um, and she was, this is when she had COVID, y'all. She jumped up, days before her passing, jumped up and ran from one room to the next, sick with COVID. And people ask, what are you doing? What are you doing, Grandma? And you know what it was? She saw an angel. She was chasing the angels, trying to catch them. So she was, they possibly coming to tell her, hey, prepare yourself, prepare yourself. And she's seeing that's my prepare yourself. I'm ready to go, baby.
Brandon,
So she got up to run.
I'm I vaguely remember that one. I don't know. I remember something about that, but what I was thinking about as you were talking was the song, the hymns. They said she was just
Mm-hmm.
beautifully singing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And whew, this is, whew. Um, I have some videos of my grandmother that while we were FaceTiming. I guess that's what we were using. I still have those, and I remember asking her, Do you know who I am?" And she's like, "What's wrong with y'all? Yeah, I know who you are." You know, in her last days, you're like, "Yeah, I know who you are." Like, what is wrong with y'all? And then the last dream I had of her, and I feel like I took this one different because I'm in a different place and I see death differently. And I remember telling a cousin of mine that if anybody deserves to meet their maker, it is her because of how she served, y'all. And I didn't see that until later, like the beauty in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and I said, if anybody deserves it, it's her, right? Certainly, none of us are perfect. My grandmother, she was a woman, a mother, a wife, a sister, human, right? But she learned her lesson. That's one thing I am sure of, that she learned her lesson. It's like I was telling one of her daughters way before her passing, because they were in their feelings about how much she does for people. And I'm said, how we don't get to choose that. We don't get to
Yeah.
choose what she does for people.
And what's she gonna do? Hold on to it at 90 something
Right.
years old?
Right.
She gonna
So
hoard her
I
butt?
almost right. I almost I knew that whatever I gave my grandmother, it probably was going to be given to somebody else.
So you might as well put a little extra on it.
She's gonna give it away. She's gonna pay somebody's bill. She's gonna do something with it. But in that, God took care of her. God took care of her. And that didn't mean she had like this huge big house, these fancy cars. God took care of her needs.
Mm,
Period. So people would come put money in her hand
yeah.
for no reason. That
I
is
remember.
the day. That's the day we were talking about a few days ago. So it may not be, you may not get the appreciation, the love, and all that from somebody, from the person you expected from, that you did the most for. But if you've learned your lesson, that's not the class, right? That's not what you're looking for. You're just looking to be a servant. And in that, God takes care of you. God takes care of you. So I want to say I was watching, and will, because I want to stay true to my word, I passed it. I was watching Ruby Bridges. Do y'all know who Ruby Bridges is?
Sounds
No,
familiar, but I don't know.
no. So I was watching this. It wasn't a documentary on her yesterday. It was like an interview,
Is it
but
the is it the actress?
she was the little girl. I wish I could pull this picture up. I think I am, you guys. But she was the little girl that was the first little black. She was the only black girl of the group that they were allowed to go to an all white school,
The school.
segregate
Okay.
that. And so one of the things that she said
Mm,
that was
mm.
interesting to me, she was asked the question, "How did you do it?" And she was a little girl, you guys, and she said, "I loved school, and so I stayed focused on that." She said, I wasn't paying attention to the people around me. And they showed, she said we could hear, she had a white teacher. And I wish I could remember the name of that white teacher. I'll get it for you. Um, she said the teacher, she protected them. She took care of them. She said the adults would be outside, marching against this. And they showed pictures of these adults. And I wondered, where are they now? And y'all, these are people who in most cases will call themselves Christians, right? They're
Right.
out picketing for people, children, based on the color of their skin, not to be in the class with their children. And one of the little boys in the class told Ruby that I can't play with you. My mom said I can't play with you because you're a nigger.
Mm,
This is why we need daily motivations for African American success because we started from a different place. Our ancestors started from a different place. And
mm,
just like you may not look like me, you have things that have marked you. Maybe your dad was an alcoholic. Maybe you didn't weren't raised by your parents. In this story, Mr. Bob, was it Bob? He was not raised, he was raised by his grandparents. Some of us will be stuck just on, I wasn't raised by my parents, missing the fact that you had grandparents. So that means grandparents are grander than parents, right, Brandon?
oh,
I didn't name us, but we've been through more. But I'm saying this to say, Ruby stayed focused. Stay focused.
mm, mm,
Stay focused on where you're going. Learn your lesson. Know that you do not belong to you. You are not of this world, you're in it.
mm.
And sometimes just being not of it takes you out of it,
Right.
right? Learn your lesson, you guys. Learn your lesson. And lastly, and I don't know, I'm going to share this because I just feel it's so important too. I ran into an elderly white man probably about 5 months ago, and I was reminded of him. He attends a multi race church
Mm-hmm.
that recently got their first ever African American pastor. And he was telling me about how many people, white people, left the church that
Like
had
what?
been there their entire lives.
And they left because what?
They left because they did not want an African American pastor. This
They're
is
so
where we still
stupid.
are. It is 2024, y'all. This is where this is what we're still fighting for those of you who don't look like us. This is what
Yo,
we're still fighting. But if you look like me, that is no excuse for you not to learn your lesson. Actually,
come on.
go ahead. Go ahead. You're
I
itching
just
over
wanted to, I just wanted to make a public statement that's already known. People are so stupid. Racist people are so stupid.
it. Yeah.
It's the dumbest construct that has existed. These are people fumbling around thinking that they have discovered America when there were people there, right? 100 million people were there. This is what this is started on. This is they enslaved the people because they didn't want to do their own work. We're talking about a lazy culture. We're not talking about all individuals, but Western European culture is as far as the proliferation of its imperial self is stupid. It's a backwards construct, and what we're witnessing now with the crocodile tears of the Karen and Kens, not all of them, but of the Karen and Kens, and y'all know who I'm talking about, the ones who call police on people for no reason, who think that leave church because there's a black pastor, that have these visceral reactions to and otherize people to other people. We're watching the fall of their empire. We're watching the fall of imperialism. We're seeing the buckling of the columns, right? Because when people start to reach for these crazy things and they start to disassociate themselves from places that they used to frequent, that they know and love, when they start to make up the most heinous lies, it's like they're reaching for straws, trying to hold on to sand in their hands. And and
Mm.
and um and I do want to give a quick reference because I know we have to go. Um, so Satan, right, in Islam, the Iblis or the Shaitans, believe that they are better than human beings. So the ones that we consider that Christians would consider demons, they think that they are better than human beings, right? Being that, and this is outlined in the Quran in this way, that why should I prostrate at the creation of mankind? They Iblis said to God, for he is made of, I'm made of fire. I'm made of a smokeless fire, and he's made of dirt. Like, we're made of different things. Why would I honor him? So the hate and the enmity that is created, or that is inside of the heart of the shaitans or Iblis or Satan or whatever you want to say, depending from what faith tradition you come from, Abrahamic faith tradition you come from, the belief that you're better than another form of creation, right, without being given that knowledge or guided to that knowledge, is the tradition of Satan. You feel me? Like, that's the tradition of Satan. So if you practice racism in any kind of way, you're practicing the tradition of Satan. And I think the connection of that is something that needs to be said. And how can people consider themselves Christian? How can they consider themselves followers of the Prince of Peace? And they
Mm.
would and followers of justice and love and all these other things. But you think that's just for you? Man, I kid you not. Like, if y'all ever meet Jesus and you found out he's black man, what you gonna do? You gonna apostate from your faith? When you
Or
found
the
out
opposite.
you
If you
find
if
out,
you think he's black and you find out he's white, like what
like, what
would
does it
you
matter?
do? Like, so often, and think about this. I've met people, black and white, that want to argue, sit up and argue with me about what color he is. I'm like,
Immaterial.
do you think I care? Do you
And look,
really think it matters to me?
yeah,
And that's what we do with people. Like
yeah.
like yesterday I talked about us having a foundation, our own foundation. How can we have our own foundation and we're worried more about the color of Jesus' skin? You worry about what people have, or not worry about it. You more focus on what people have rather than who they are.
Mm,
There was a quote this morning that we get so caught up. Don't misinterpret the soul by focusing on the shell of a person,
mm.
right? The intentions, the mindset. So, Brandon, we got to get out of here. Seven
Yeah, we
fifty
gotta get up
nine.
there. All right, I'm gonna jump through it because I know we'll
Yeah,
go on all day.
I know you have more.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay,
Man, to be honest, I'm endless.
okay.
Like, that stuff don't come from me. So we can cut it off whenever. It's like turning on a faucet of water. Like, it's gonna come, God willing.
I
Um,
want to. Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm going to try something here, you guys. Just carry
okay.
on, Brandon. So if you
All right.
see something show up on the screen, don't. It's me doing something. So okay.
All right. All right. So today, our 89th installment of the End of the Season podcast, guys. That was a great conversation. Thank you, Mom, and thank y'all for the discussion. But the title today was "I've Learned My Lesson," and the quote comes from John Oliver Killens, writer and playwright, who said, "Life is a short walk. There's so little time to give, and so much to achieve. So little time to give, not to get, but to give, and so much to achieve." And notice how he puts that first before the achievement. And then after the passage, the affirmation that we read 3 times was, "I will assure my greatness by becoming the greatest servant." I will assure my greatness by becoming the greatest server. Now say this out loud with me if you can. The affirmation for today is, it's on the bottom of your screen. I will assure my greatness by becoming the greatest server. That's all that I have for you today, Mom. If you want to tell about what this is and who that is, feel
So you
free. But
guys
that's all I
can
got.
see it.
Yeah, we can see
Okay,
it.
so that's Miss Ruby Bridges. I just kind of wanted to see, as I want to share some things with you guys during our one of our next shows. So
Mm.
we're going to start sharing some things with you so you can see it. But that's Miss Ruby. If you want to read something good today, go out and read about Miss Ruby Bridges. It will inspire you. It
Mm.
will inspire you. I promise you. Or find the interview. I'll post it out there. Maybe I can do that. I'll post the interview out there that I looked at yesterday.
Okay.
But go further. Learn your lesson today. Be your lesson today. And know that you are your most faithful and humble servant. You have to be in order to be that to God. Thank you guys. We didn't get to your comments, but we did. I did see them, so I'll try to get back on today and answer some of those. Okay. But
All right,
until
y'all.
such time, y'all be great.
Y'all take care. Go out there and serve somebody today. Um, be a servant today and see how that makes you feel. You know, enough for one is enough for two. Enough for two is enough for four. And enough for four is enough for eight. So go
Right.
out there and be great. Y'all take care.
Smile, smile. Just smile at someone. Strike up a conversation with somebody. Right.
Yeah.
Just do that. Peace.
All right. Peace.